Hey folks, Princess Davy here. I thought it would be fun to try something a little different and read to you one of my short stories. All of my stories can be found over on my Patreon, but maybe some of you need something a little more visual with your short stories. So I picked out one of my favorites and I'm gonna read it to you here. Sorry, I'm a little nervous, and also let that be a warning to you. Even though this is my short story, I still may stumble over my words, okay? Because this is my first time trying to do it together. Hopefully, you enjoy it. Either way, sit back, relax, and enjoy Princess Valia and the Pink Planet. Somewhere in a distant universe, a princess must journey to a cold pink planet to save her father. It all began on the multicolored home planet of Princess Valia. Estrel was a world made of 7 domains and one ruler. King Luno was a wise and kind spirit who loved to meet with the people. With a large belly and an even bigger white beard, Luno was beloved by Estrel. He often left things to the court while he traversed the lands with his daughter. Valia loved to explore the 7 domains and learn all she could about her planet. With her soft purple skin and wild fluorescent pink hair, Valia loved to ride the winds on her glitter glider. She controlled the shimmering sails with ease. The people called her the royal butterfly as she soared through the winds. Though her father worried about her, Valia had learned a lot from her travels and her guard Quimble. Quimble was an old gentleman with a twirly mustache that stuck out from his helmet. He had helped care for her for years and was the first to teach her to ride the single sail air machines called glitter gliders. Looking like 2 crescent moons, Valia and Quimble would soar across Estrel whenever the weather was nice enough. Valia was getting older and wanted to explore the other planets outside of Estrel. She loved the 7 domains of her planet, but there were 6 other planets waiting for her to explore. 3 planets were forbidden, but 6 had people and places she had never seen before. Valia only read about them in books or saw them in holograms. 6 planets with their own domains and own rules. King Luno knew she was ready to leave Estrel, but he was busy ruling the planet. His mind and time were becoming busier every day. He could rarely visit the people and no longer had time for forgotten war stories. It was nearing Valia's birthday, and all he could talk about was the court of the 7 domains. Valia was totally shocked when he gifted her a golden flying saucer. Promising to take lessons from Quimble, Valia enjoyed her birthday celebrations before quickly taking to the stars. Princess Valia was so caught up in her flying lessons that she barely said goodbye to King Luno when he left for another planet. The king left Quimble to watch over the princess and the court. King Luno knew Valia was safe with old Quimby while old Quimby was around. After a wild lesson avoiding a small meteor shower, Valia and Quimble returned to some unfortunate news. King Luno and his ship had disappeared above one of the forbidden planets. The court wanted to send an army in search of him, but Valia feared it would send the wrong message. She offered to go with Quimble to find the lost king. Leaving the court to rule Estrel until they returned, Valia and Quimble left for the pink planet known as Zeno. It was known for its harsh, icy conditions and rose-colored snow. Quimble was nervous to visit the planet, but Valia felt brave together. She knew they would find her father. The princess put on an azure-colored suit of cosmic armor and borrowed her father's star blade. The trip to the planet was smooth, but once they got near, the ship began to freeze. Valia had trouble keeping the ship moving in the right direction as she had to avoid the sharp, diamond-like shards that surrounded Zeno. Quimble took over the controls, and Valia braced for a rough landing. They landed at the only known outpost and were greeted by a group of tall guards in silver and blue armor. Valia and Quimble followed the guard to meet with the ruler of Zeno, a young prince with lime-colored skin and bright black eyes. He welcomed the duo and asked their purpose. After explaining her situation, Valia learned they were the first to visit Zeno in centuries. Most do not make it through the icy shards. The ruler introduced himself as Colt and offered his help in finding their lost king. Valia was told a ship was seen crashing not too far from a known pirate's den. After a quick refreshment of tea, The trio boarded a massive machine that looked like an insect made of metal. Using its many mechanical legs, it moved across the rose colored snow with great speed. Valia learned a lot about Colt and Zeno as they searched the cold planet. Zeno used to have many visitors, but the harsh weather got worse, and soon the ice pirates began to scavenge the lost domains. Only his small kingdom called Ozen remained safe from their attacks. He believed his people were protected within its high walls. Outside of Ozen was a different story, and as if on cue, the ice pirates of Zeno attacked the metal insect. The guards tried to shake them off, but they were soon captured, and the bug was overturned by the pirates, dressed in vibrant green furs and crystals that looked like ice. Some rode the backs of snow serpents as they attacked the group. Seeing that her comrades were being tied up and gathered, Valia helped Colt escape, and quickly came up with a plan. Once the ice pirates had collected their supplies and friends, Valia planned to follow them back to their hideout. Colt loved the idea, and once the pirates of the ice left, he quickly went to work scavenging the broken metal vehicle. Colt put together a sled and sail that they could use to move across the rose snow. It was like the glitter gliders that Valia rode at home, only it could not fly. Using the last bit of power from the insect machine, Colt sent a message back to Ozen to tell his people what happened. Soon after, they jumped on the makeshift snowcraft and began to follow the tracks left by the serpents. On the way, Colt spoke of how he was set to become king. Having lost his parents some time ago, he was supposed to hold a coronation when his true love went missing. Tion was the head knight and been a childhood friend since Colt could remember. On a mission to save some people from a band of pirates, Tion and his crew were lost. Valia felt bad for Colt and offered her condolences. Colt was a very bright and inviting spirit who seemed to hold the sorrow deep within. He was stronger than he believed himself to be, and Valia respected that. Valia spoke of the 7 domains and her trips with King Luno. She felt comfort in sharing her memories of her home planet and the many different lands that existed there. Passing massive ice structures and frozen over lakes, she was reminded of Bentolo. The cold domain was known for its hazardous snow season and large crystal salts that stuck out like diamonds. Arriving at a cave covered in thick icicles, Valia and Colt devised the next step in their plan. First, they freed the many snow serpents from their wooden den. This made many of the ice pirates run off to catch the quickly escaping creatures. Only 5 pirates remained to guard the many captives all tied together. Colt was used as a bit of a distraction. He brazenly went into the den to challenge the pirates, while Valia started to free the people of Zeno and her dear friend Quimble. Just as she began to untie the first person, 6 more pirates came from deep within the cave. Valia had to fight off the pirates as the newly freed captive untied the others. Valia used the skills taught to her by Quimble to defend herself against the pirates. Quimble quickly came to her side, but realized she did not need him. She was doing fine, fending off the ice pirates all by herself. Valia was quick and dodged nearly every strike from the ice pirates. Quimble untied the captives as Valia knocked 2 pirates into one another. Their sparkly outfits came apart and shattered like glass. The captives began to fight back, and before Valia knew it, she was fighting with an entire team of guards and townfolk. Soon all the people were freed, and the heroes were left alone in a cave full of stolen treasures. After they planned a way for the people of Ozen to return home, Valia and Quimble were lucky to find a small snow saucer that they could use to locate her father. Colt had his guards go with his people while he joined the Princess of Estrel. The 3 quickly jetted away along the rose snow and watched as the bright sun began to rise ahead. Valia was doing well when Quimble suddenly fainted. He was injured from being taken captive and needed to rest. Colt helped him, while Valia continued to move the tiny snowcraft across the mountains of Zeno. They were almost near where her father's ship was, last seen entering the atmosphere when there was a strange noise. Like the crackling of bones, the sound roared louder. Valia was unsure, but it felt like the ship was rocking a bit more as well. Colt rushed to the cockpit and warned of an avalanche. Suddenly, bells and warning whistles began to buzz all over the controls. Valia was nervous, but Colt believed in her. He had no pilot training, but he trusted her skills. Valia did not tell him that she had only just learned how to fly. She did her best to maintain the controls, and as the rushing noise and rocking of the ship worsened, Valia rose above it. Moving with the speed, she hit the right buttons and pulled the correct levers while dodging debris and sharp needled trees. Colt was both laughing and screaming like he was on a ride at an amusement park. The two hit a bump and suddenly were riding the avalanche down to the bottom. As fast as it began, it was over. They rested now in a sea of rose snow with the very tops of the trees poking out from below. A signal on the ship came to life. There was another ship nearby, only buried deep in the snow. Valia knew it was her father. They sent out a rescue signal and went on foot to the spot where his ship was buried. Colt and Valia began to dig. There were ships coming to help, but Valia could not wait, and Colt would not let her dig alone. The two uncovered the glass dome of the ship, but could not see inside. 10 large spacecrafts, like beetles, arrived and took over, digging up the lost ship from Estral. Valia was nervous as they went to open the lost flying saucer. Inside, they found her father sleeping peacefully. His beard was a little unkempt, but he was bubbly and warm. But his bubbly and warm self, his bubbly and warm self as soon as he saw Valia. The two embraced, and they thanked the Prince of Zeno many times over. Colt was happy to help and asked why the king was flying so close to the pink planet. King Luno explained that he had received a message from someone asking for help. He went in secret since the council still forbade travel to the planet. The king told the council he was on his way to visit the planet Monvale, but instead followed the signal. Valia and Colt watched the static message that the king had received on accident. There was a ruggedly handsome man with a scar on his left cheek asking for help. He and his crew were trapped. Colt screamed before falling to his knees. It was Tion. He was alive and needed to be rescued. Prince Colt said rushed goodbyes and thank yous to the king and princess of Estral before trying to run off. Valia stopped him. She still owed him a favor and offered her service to Colt. King Luno jumped in and offered his help as well. Quimbo woke up to a curious celebration and a new adventure just about to begin. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed Princess Valia and the Pink Planet. If you liked it and you want to reread it, you can check it out over on my Patreon. If you want to check out some of my more stories, check out my Patreon. I might be doing some more of these read-alongs, but have a good night. Love you.